Hi, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic, where today I'm going to take a little puzzle that we've had requested by a viewer, Banu, from India. So a few days ago I remember I did a puzzle requested from Taiwan. Now we're doing India. The internet is really a remarkable thing to me, that I can be sitting in London solving puzzles requested from around the world. It is marvellous. Now this is an expert puzzle, and Banu clearly is quite an expert solver, because in his commentary about why he struggled with this puzzle, he has already used some quite advanced techniques, so I anticipate this is going to be very difficult. What I'll probably need to do therefore is I'll start with some light notation, so in 3x3 blocks, things like that, to indicate that a number can only go in exactly 2 positions, and then at some point I'll need to switch it up, I think, and go for more extensive notation towards the end. So I'll try and judge that so that it's not too arduous. Now let's go. 4s, this 4, this 4 and this 4. This square here is going to have to be a 4. Therefore this is a 4, this is a 4. Pencil mark some 4s at the top there. This 6 interacts with this block, allows us to place 6s into those 2 positions, but we've got no 6s anywhere in the middle 3 rows of the grid, so that's annoying. 9s, look, we can pencil mark up here. 4s over on this side as well. These 3s we can pencil mark over there. 7s, 4s. 9s, these 2 9s. This square here must be a 9. Let's put that in. Now we can pencil mark some stuff off the back of this funny pattern we've got in this 3x3 block. So the 7s then are forced upwards. Can't do anything with 1s, and we can't do anything, well, I suppose we can do that with 8s, which gives us a couple more pencil marks, so we should do it. Let's have a look at row 5 of the grid, because we've already got 6 digits in there, so we need 1, 6 and 9. No. Okay, so now we have a 1 and a 9 already in column 7. So this square, in fact, is a naked single. It can only be a 6. And we can pencil mark some 6s up here. We need to still place 1 and 9 in the central row, and we have this 9 here. So this is a 1 and this is a 9. 1s get pencil marked at the bottom. We get a 9. We get loads of stuff from the 9. So the 9 allows us to place a 9 there, but it also, rather nicely, allows us to pencil mark 9s into those 2 squares, and that gives us a 4-9 pair in this 3x3 block. So this square can no longer be a 1. Remember the implication of the pencil marks. We're saying that if we tried to put a 1 here, that would be saying we can't put the 4 or the 9 in this square, so the 4 and the 9 must go in this square, because we're saying that the 4 and the 9 only go in one of 2 positions once we pencil mark them. So we can immediately eliminate that 1, and the same reason we get the 8 at the top there. So that is nice, but I'm not actually sure it's going to give me much in the way of additional information, which is a bit annoying. No 8s in columns 7, 8 and 9, so right, how annoying. Let's have a look at column 3. So we need 2, 6 and 7, and no, that's not, well, I guess this 6 is allowing us to pencil mark 6s into those 2 squares, but it's not desperately helpful. Wow. So what is our next number going to be? Ah, threes. Threes, threes. We get threes into those two squares. That's a 1-3 pair. Now that might be helpful. So pencil mark 2s into those two squares because of the 2 here. And that gives us a 2. Oops. Pencil mark 2s at the top. Whenever I do that, by the way, I'm always scanning this way. I'm looking for, if I had that situation in this block, if I've managed to pencil mark 2s into this block, into those two squares, I would immediately be able to write in a 2 up here. So I haven't done that, so I can't, but that's always, when you pencil mark, always be scanning across or down to try and use the pencil mark as much as you can. Now, 8s into one of these two squares, 8s into one of those two squares, therefore. 6, this 6 is forcing the 6 up here, so again we get a 2-6 pair now. This can no longer be an 8. This is an 8, and this is a 5. And again, I'm floundering around. That gives me a 5-9 pair at the top because of this 5 and this 5. And 5's over on this side. Okay, and there's something interesting, isn't there? Look at that. So we get a 2-6 here. So we've got this interesting triple of 2 6s going round these three squares. Now this square can be, in theory, it can be a 2, 6 or a 7, looking at the empty, or the numbers we haven't placed in the column yet. But we can immediately rule out a 2 or a 6 from this square. Now why is that? Let's just put a 2 in to show you what that would imply. If there is a 2 there, obviously that implies this pattern. So that implies in the finished grid we would see this arrangement. Now the problem with this arrangement is it is not unique. These 4 cells sit independently of the whole of the rest of the puzzle. So there is no way of telling that this was the intended solution and not having a 2 here, a 2 here, and a 6 here, and a 6 here. And you may say, oh no, that clearly they could be disambiguated. Well, I challenge you to tell me how they could be, because the problem is if we look at row 6 and row 7, it's not possible for any of the open squares to influence these cells and tell us which order they're meant to go into. We've already got the 2, 6 pair in the rows. Ditto for the columns. I can't put numbers in here to tell me how this 2 and 6 should be arranged. And the same in the blocks. I've already got the 2, 6 pair placed. So there's nothing I can do with the other numbers to tell me how to arrange these 2s and 6s. So in a way, you could view these 2s and 6s as a totally distinct puzzle. They're irrelevant. None of the rest of the cells in this grid influence these 4 squares. And that is a big problem. So we know we can't have that arrangement. So in other words, we have to choose a number here because we know this is a good Sudoku with one solution. We have to choose the number that prevents there from being that 2, 6 deadly pattern. So that means this is a 7. And somewhat annoyingly, that doesn't seem to do anything for me. I guess it gives me a 7 pencil marked up there. Oh, bother. I guess the 2, 6 pair here as well, though, that does disambiguate this. This must be a 6. But I don't think, again, that's going to be terribly helpful. Okay. So where should we look now? Are we getting to the point where we may have to think about abandoning this notation and moving to something slightly more comprehensive? This is a 2 or a 6. Let's just take a look along row 1 of the grid. So we need 2, 5, 6, 7, 9. Okay. Well, that square can only be a 5 or a 9 because the 2, 6, and 7 are already in the column. So there is a 5, 9. Right, okay, well let's just check the rest of row 1. So with a 5-9 pair now, we need 2, 6 and 7 into the open position. So this is a 6 or a 7. This is a 2 or a 6, and this is a 2 or a 7. Ah, okay. Whoa, there's a few things going on here, I think. So the first is with a 5-9 pair here, where can we place a 5 in this block? This 5 and the 5-9 pair mean there's only one square a 5 can go into, and that's there, which allows me to pencil mark 5s here, and can't see anything else. But interestingly, we've got the makings of a deadly pattern on 5s and 9s here. This square cannot be a 5 or a 9, because if it is, I run into exactly the same problem I explained down here with the 2s and the 6s. And if I rule out a 5 and a 9 from this square, you can see, looking at the contents of the row and the column, I'm getting rid of a lot of the numbers. So let's just check. 1, 2, 3, 4, can't be a 5 for the reasons I mentioned, can't be a 6, 7, can be an 8, but can't be a 9. So that's nice. Okay, so this is an 8. Oh, well, it was nice. It doesn't give me anything. Oh, goodness me. Well, I guess what it does, if I interact this 8 and this 8, I get to pencil mark 8s there and pencil mark 8s there, but I don't see a way of using that. Ah, goodness. Right, okay. Well, I think we're probably getting to the point now where I need to do some more comprehensive notation, because I'm not spotting anything that's coming out of this. So I'm going to start deleting the pencil marks and leave in those that indicate very restricted squares, obviously. So those, I'm going to just fully pencil mark that because I can do that quickly. I've got 5, 9 here in 5, 9, 5, 9. So this is 2, 6. So this is a 2 or a 7. This is a 2, 6 or 7. And across row 1 we've got 2, 6 and 7 because of the 5, 9. So this is a 2 or a 7, and this is a 6 or a 7. And I'm just going to do column 3 as well. So 2, again 2, 6 and 7. So 2, 7. So there's a 2, 6 pair now in this row. Goodness me, there's so many different pairs in this puzzle. So now I need 1, 3, 5 and 8 along here. Is that right? 1, 3, 5, 8? Yes. So this is a 1 or a 5. 1, 3, 8. Oh, this can only be an 8 because we already have 1, 3, 5 there. So that is an 8. Ah, that resolves that 8 pencil marks. I'm glad I didn't remove those. That can only be 1 or 3 now, and this must be 3 or 5. Now, what can I do with that, if anything? Sorry, I know this is probably frustrating when you're watching me flounder, but I'm trying to just check what's going on now. Going along here, we need to place 1, 3 and 7, so this is a 3 or a 7. This is 1, 3 or 7. This is 1, 3 or 8. These squares here have got to be 1, 5, 7 or 8. So that's a 1 or a 5. And this can be any number of things. Can't see how to resolve that. Okay, so twos, 2, 7, 2, 6, 7. Just going to, oh, I don't think that square is going to be terribly helpful. 2, 6 or 7 here. So this is a 2 or a 6. 2, 7 here. Ah, okay, there is a Y-wing. So look at the 2, 7, the 2, 6 and the 6, 7 here, going round the corner, a bent triple as I like to call it. We'd all be completely fine with this arrangement if for example this was where the 2, 7 was. We would look along the row, we go 2, 6, 7 triple, and we merrily go about the rest of the row eliminating the numbers 2, 6 and 7. Well, this is not as powerful as that, but it still often has implications. So the way to think about those implications is to pick the middle cell of the Y-wing, this one, the cell that sees both the other cells. So this cell only sees this cell, so this is not the central cell of the Y-wing, neither is this one. And we select the options. So if this was a 2, what happens? This is a 7. But on the other hand, this is a 6. It's the only other possibility. This is a 7. So we know in these binary outcomes there is always a 7 either here or here. And therefore any cell in the grid that sees this square and this square cannot contain a 7. So which cells are we looking at therefore? We're looking at these two cells. So there's no 7 in either of these two cells. So this cell is quite restricted. In fact, there's only one place a 7 can go. I can tell without looking at the options. If I eliminate a 7 from these two squares, where can I place a 7 in row 3? Only there. So I might as well just do that. I'll put the 7 in and then we'll think about what it means. So 7. So let's just check now. 2, 4, 5 and 9 to place. So this 2 is possible here. 4 and 9 are not possible. So this can be a 2 or a 5. This can be a 4 or a 5. There's a 4, 5, 9 triple now in this row. This is the only place a 2 can go. Now, what does that mean, if anything? Let's look at column 7. We need to place 3, 5 and 7. This is 3 or... so now there's a 3, 7 pair in column 7. Let me just double check this 2 because... Okay, I can't see anything else I get from the 2 apart from this pair. So this is a 5 now. Can't be a 3 anymore. That means this is a 1 and this is a 3. And this is where we have to be very careful not to go too quickly because we've made a big jump forward here. So this 1 means that this is a 7. Eliminate the 7 here. We've now got a 1, 8 pair into column 1. And this 3 as well. The 3, that locks a 1, 3 pair up there. This must be 2 or 7, I think. Which means there's a 2, 6, 7 pair there, which means this must be a 5, which looks right. Yes, okay. Okay, so that was helpful, but has it cracked the puzzle? Well, 1, 3, 5, 9 here. That's a 3 or a 9, I think. 9, 5, 9, 1, 3, 1, 5. Sorry about this, I'm just taking a stare at this, trying to spot what the next step might be. Hopefully my brain will come up with something in a minute, otherwise it's going to be an embarrassingly long video. Okay, here's something. Here is something. Let's look at the 2's in this block. Now, this is an interesting arrangement of 2's. I like this pattern, as some of you who've watched these videos would have observed in the past, because the fact that the 2's don't go in any of these 4 squares means that they either go along here in row 4 or they go up in column 3. And this is very, very nice in this puzzle, because when the 2's do this, they hit other 2's in the grid that are very restricted in their respective columns and rows. So let's have a look first at column 4. You can see there's only 2 positions a 2 can go in column 4. Now therefore, what happens when we look at the 2 options for where the 2's can go in this 3x3 block? And when I say 2 options, I know you might say, well, there are 3 squares the 2 can go into. There are, but those 3 options can be reduced to 2 effects in terms of rows and columns. Either the 2's are going this way or they're going up here. So they're either affecting row 4 or column 3. Now, if they come across here, if one of these squares is a 2, it will hit the 2 here, and that will mean in column 4 this must be a 2. Now, if this is a 2, this square cannot be a 2. This would have to be a 7. And the beautiful thing about this arrangement is if it's not true that the 2 is going horizontally, it must go vertically, in which case I get to eliminate this 2. So either way, either of these binary outcomes results in me eliminating the 2 in this square. But this is really rather lovely, because we can then, and this is great practice, so do it, imagine instead focus on the way the 2's work in row 2. And you'll be able, if you think it through, to come up with exactly the same conclusion using this block. Again, either the 2's are this way or this way. If they're vertical, this cannot be a 2. Now there's only 2 positions for the 2 in row 2. Here, which we've just ruled out, or here. Now once this is a 2, this cannot be a 2. So again, either the 2's are vertical, in which case I eliminate the 2 from this square, or they're horizontal, in which case I obviously eliminate the 2 from this square. So look at that, the same empty rectangle on the same number is eliminating the 2 from these 2 squares and allowing me to place a big 7 in this square and a big 6 in this square. Now I'm hoping that that is going to crack the puzzle. Let's see. So you can see we're going to get a few numbers immediately. This is a 2, 6 and 2, 7, means this, oops, this is a 1, 3 here. There's, I'm sure you've all spotted it, there's another uniqueness point now at the bottom, but we'll come back to that, we might not need it. 3, 7 like that. This 3 means this is a 9, 5, 9, 5, 9, 4, 4, 6. Let's eliminate the 7 from this square. And this must be a 1. Okay, so we don't actually need the uniqueness argument here, but just to illustrate it, if we look at the patterns of 1's and 3's here, we've got the same thing going on that we had with 2's and 6's and 5's and 9's. This square here cannot be a 1 or a 3, otherwise we run into the same problem. So we can actually just write in an 8 into this square. Now, actually getting this 1 probably means that we can do that anyway like that, but just for the sake of good order, we showed there were 2 ways to deduce that that must be the case. So now hopefully everything's going to work out, and we'll finish the puzzle in a sec. So this 6 is now going to resolve everything. There we go. So I hope that was useful, Vanu. I hope the rest of you enjoyed it too. If you did, please subscribe to the channel. We really appreciate that. Give us a thumbs up. We really like getting the comments as well, especially if they're nice comments, but frankly any comments. We need to know how, you know, how what we're producing is going down with you guys, and what you want to see more, what you want to see less, etc. Mark will be back soon. He's in the middle of his audit season at the moment, which is why you've been stuck with me for most of this week. Thanks for watching again. As I say, back soon with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.